I think what everybody's doing to preserve the language is a good thing. And I'm glad we still have elders that can help.
Ni ahon di yutoin zon isen den jis wai baksa ni kanyo nani kakat ka ho de skat ka.
My age, you know, the people my age, it's our job to bridge between the elders who lived it and trying to bridge it to the young children and the ones not born yet.
Well, myself, I went to Thomas Indian School when I was 5, and I lost what little language I knew I could speak. Seneca when I left, but when I came back, I forgot most of it because they wouldn't let us, you know.
Because if you go to a white man's school, then you're going to forget who you all are.
All that knowledge is in our language, which is what our culture is based in. You know, our worldview is in that. So I think that's one of the biggest things, being able to transfer that knowledge through us to our children and their our grandchildren. It's coming down to that. It's like the guide on it's always saying, he says there's no ifs, ands, or buts, we gotta do it.
You know, I grew up hearing my grandparents talking all the time. And we'd go and we'd ask, they'd always be having a good time talking. And people would come over and visit and they'd be speaking and Waycott. And they just would be always having a good time. And I miss that. I miss going somewhere and just hearing the language.
Well, when I was growing up, my dad was Christian. My mom was Longhouse, and she couldn't speak the language to us. My dad didn't like it.
I like to see a lot of the little ones learn. I'm proud of my boys. They're learning the language. They're learning how to sing, take care of ceremonies. I like to see them teach their kids.
I have a 9-year-old daughter. She goes to the FaithKeepers school in the summer, and she goes to regular school the year.
And hopefully we'll have another generation of speakers if we just work towards younger kids. And that's one of the beautiful things about being Seneca is we adapt to the world that we live in, you know, and that's what makes us survive up to this point.
I need to be able to carry on our traditions and our culture and our language as well. And hopefully, you know, we'll be able to keep our children learning.
Dad, and I'd like to see the language and the whole culture all come back.
From the late 1950s to today, we lost the language. We didn't pick it up. And I don't blame anybody. I don't blame my mother. My mother is fluent. They heard it full time in their households.
You know, firsthand, my father went to a boarding school.
My mother's generation is a generation that went through the New York State education process. They were punished for speaking the language.
If they got caught speaking the language, the Seneca language, they got beaten.
And her being a mother, she just didn't want her children to have to go through that kind of abuse. She thought it was best that her 2 sons would learn English before learning Seneca. When we were moved in 1964 and 65 because of the Kinzua Dam, we became modern, I guess. We abandoned what some people called the old ways. And I guess for whatever reason, they thought the language was part of the old ways.
This is all the property we have left. We don't have no property down here below this dam here. It's all underwater. See? I had no choice. We had no choice. We had to move, whether we wanted to or not. They burned our houses down. They came in here and bulldozers, tore all our houses down. That was a sad time for us. See? That's what I That's what the old people bring back. They're still angry, see, they still carry the anger on. They're still, why do you have to do that? Well, that longhouse has been there probably 1800s. The water never came up that high. But we were down there, we're cleaning up down there.
We're going to get this designated as a sacred site.
I can't go back to my mother country and go back and get my Seneca language back, because I don't have one. This is it right here. This is my mother country.
It's what ties us, to the earth. It's what ties us to our Creator. That's our link. And then basically without that, we don't have a culture. I guess they were camping out in the longhouse or something, and they could hear singing and drums and rattles, like we were playing. Yeah, they could hear that way back in the woods. So, yeah, you hear a lot of stuff. Believers say that no proof is necessary. Non-believers say that no proof is possible. There's a lot of history here, and there's a lot of things that still remain here, a lot of spirits. So we'll see something, I know that. Cold Spring was more about the people and not the area. The trees and the plants itself of Cold Spring are still here.
There used to be a lacrosse field down here.
There used to be a house there. A gentleman who is now 70 years old by the name of Cecil Johnny John, call him Zeke, was born back there by a tree, one of them old trees that you can see it from here. We really don't have a textbook. Like I said, we got different resources, and those resources are actual people.
The most important thing today is the language, because Seneca's language is this is it. We had to go back to the way things were 2,000 years ago, so we have to go backwards a little bit.
Basically, without that, we don't have a culture. We're not what we say is the original people.
That's the only way we can identify ourselves with those distinct people that are known as the Senecas. That's why it's so important.
Because one day, when there's nobody here to speak Seneca anymore, there ain't going to be no more Indians. We're going to be an extinct nation. We're going to become extinct because there ain't nobody going to be here to talk Seneca. We could say, even the white people say that to me. They can talk a little bit.
That's the purpose of I think of us all in this room, to stand each other up so that you're not in this battle alone. We're losing our language, losing our culture, our traditions. And that's why it's so important that there is someone like Dar Dowdy who has dedicated his life now to making sure that we still have it here, that we still have our language and culture.